Fox Mining here. Today is a very special fireside chat with one of my very good friends, Jeff Kirdeikis. He's been pretty much going around and doing everything, but at the same time, he's so knowledgeable, and this is one of the conversations I really want to share with you guys. So Jeff, he is the CEO of Trustswap, and he also is part of the social network Uptrend. So that's two amazing projects right there and then. And today we're actually going to just take it easy. We're gonna just take it easy, chat about everything we feel like, and obviously because the markets are going a little bit to the red side today, uh, we can start with that. Why not, right?
For sure, man. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's like, we have such a nice run. Like we've been climbing from 3,000 and change. Not that like when we had that big crash from the coronavirus thing, it's just been a steady climb since then. And now, we peak near like 12,000, drop down like 3%. And I think this is classic crypto mentality, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's ETH, or whether it's whatever it is. Everyone loves to look at those 1 minute charts. And so you see, like a 3% drop, or God forbid, a 4% drop, one day. And like in one of my Facebook groups, this girl, she says, this is the kind of thing that makes me, fear crypto. Like it loses all its legitimacy. I'm like, my lady, did you not look at the S&P 500 today? Like Tesla dropped 9%. It doesn't delegitimize anything.
I think so, and I think this is one of the conditions in crypto, right? Because in crypto, you get a lot of people, right? Some people who are looking for short-term gains, and that's been one of the things that people like to play with, right? You play with alts, you look for these short-term gains, and it's ridiculously and for the past few months, it was ridiculously easy to make money on crypto, right? But let me just close that for a sec. We have Telegram, but it's not a bad one. So, anyways, so I think that's a case where people expect quick money, but then it's not the easiest money in the world. I think crypto is one of the places where it's very easy to get burnt as well.
That's it.
I think that's the biggest problem, right? Where like you hear people make a lot of money, right? And I'm trying to avoid these stories as well. I mean, obviously, I had a really good run for the past few months. I mean, I'm ridiculously thankful of everything and all that yield farming stuff. I was just right at the right place at the right time, and everything just blew up. And then you guys, you did some really great stuff. You got me into like all the stuff that you're doing. Even Uptrend just blew up, right? It's one of my 10x's as well this entire season. So um that was crazy. But obviously, if you tell all these crazy great stories, everyone's gonna think it's very easy to make money, right? So in this channel, I was more focusing. Okay, look, I have some successes, but I also have some massive failures too. I'm okay to share both of these with you guys. So just to let you know what it's like to be in this space. And obviously today, I feel like we're in a time when everything is just going straight downhill for a little bit. But it's something that's actually very needed in this market, because for the longest period of time, we just had like utter insanity. We just had utter everything floats, everything flies, right? And that's not always a good thing. So that's the kind of the case right now.
Yeah, and so it seems like, in your perspective, that a lot of the things are dying down. Like for sure, the yield farming was a big wave, a big trend. You could throw any food coin at it, and it's going to do fantastic. It's going to become a $10 million market cap project overnight, which is insane. But I mean, even now, still, like you have like Andre, he's like backing the meme coin. Yam 2 is coming out. It's not like this is really
Three. You're like three.
My mistake. bow to the shitcoin yield farmer king, Michael Gu.
No, you got. This is so the ridiculous part of it, right? Go Yam 1, Yam 2, Yam 3. 4 is coming out soon, guys. That's the crazy insanity part of it. And I absolutely think so. Like, these food coins had it easy, and it's because people were very greedy. And I think the yield farming issue was that at the start, I was very lucky because I got into Wi-Fi, right? That was the first one. That was the one that blew up. Obviously, as a farmer, I sold too many. So like, I was like, I made my yield, whatever. I made money.
Yeah.
I just sell it. Let's de-risk, right? De-risk everything.
When did you start getting into that? Because that
dude, I was there in the first 6 hours, man. That was like 1% of the pool at a certain point. So
that's unbelievable.
Like,
so what do you see for the future for it now? Because on like other phone conversations that we've had, you talk about the system, the structure, how it's like kind of like what you describe it as is like almost like an investment fund, which it sounds incredibly like a huge value proposition. Like, get in.
No,
Like,
yes
what are
and
you thinking
no.
on this project?
Yes and no. I think the Wi-Fi story is very interesting because when I first started, everyone saying this is a values coin. In fact, Andre himself said this is a values coin. I'm just going to distribute it. You guys have
Sure.
the DAO, right? And I think there were some very very interesting plays because I told a lot of people about Wi-Fi farming because I felt like you're not buying the coin, right? You're staking down a cryptocurrency, and they're mostly stable coins too, right? And you're
Yeah.
getting this Wi-Fi for free. Now, a few of my genius friends, they got into it and they made some genius plays as well. So one of the genius plays was to stop the issuance of any more Wi-Fi. So when it first came out, right, this is the power of the DAO because the coin is meant for the decentralized autonomous organization. It's meant to make decisions on the platform. So one of the initial purposes and one of the intentions that some smart people did was like, if they want to increase the value of this coin, then make it so that there's going to be no more. Right.
Yeah. If you're a governance token, that's a smart way to do the governance. Like, hey,
that
listen,
is
I got
super
the whale
smart.
share. Stop the inflation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mind you,
That is.
I'll tell you what. Like, I feel like inflation serves such a massive purpose, especially these days in terms of like staking and yield farms and all these kinds of things. Because I think what people are really looking at right now is, what is my APY rate coming in? Is this thing going to be able to survive 2, 3, 6 months down the road so that I know I'm not going to get rugged or pulled on? And so inflationary coins have so much value there because when you're fixed supply, there's only so much you can do, which is why it's interesting, how the YFI model has come into play.
Like, inflation favors everyone who wants to get involved, but a flick supply favors the whales, and the whales selected that, right? And that's the power of the DAO, right? So they made a good decision. So just following up on the chat, so we can't hear Jeff, so I'm trying to lower my volume a little bit, but Jeff, can you increase your volume a little bit on your side as well? Let me see if there's any way to increase the volume here as well. Because we try to fix this. So let me just double check. Because like on my side, Jeff is on max on the speaker. Jeff, just see if you can, like, you did. Okay, yeah, it should be. Can you say something, Jeff?
Check. It looks good on my side, and I'm unable to do any more.
Okay, you cannot do more. Okay, cool. I'll just lower my volume. So I just lower my volume on my side. So hopefully, guys, you guys can hear. I think you have to turn the volume up a little bit. So forgive us for this. Yeah, like
it's a tech day. You were saying before the call, it was a tough tech day.
It's been a very very tough tech day for me. My normal camera broke down. The cable just died on me, so I can't actually get a video feed on my normal camera. It's just one of those days, right? That's why we're trying to have both the green screen effect. I thought that I'll match your background. So anyways, apologies everyone, but I tried to Jeff's up to max volume. I can hear him very well on my side too. So just forgive us. I think it's a tech issue. I am okay. Like, today is a tech bad day for me. Like, absolutely.
Sounds one guy's now saying hearing both loudly here. So maybe you fixed it. All right.
Okay.
Maybe it's troubleshot.
Excellent. Nice. So you're checking up the chat as well. So yeah, just guys, shoot us anything. It's a fireside chat. This is the most casual discussion ever. I think this is like this is the conversations I love. It's one of those things. It's like, there's no objective. We just want to enlighten everyone, catch up on some stuff, maybe talk a little bit about Trustswap as well. Jeff is part of Trustswap, but no pressure on anything, right? That was the everything. So I think so. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so we're talking about governance tokens and how YFI was implementing that. And one thing that I did want to chat about with you is the whole, like, the Uniswap launch for a governance token, and how potentially absurd this token is. Like, I don't want to put a bias on it just yet. What are your overarching thoughts on the?
This is good. I love this. I love having a debate on this because, like,
oh, you love it, hey?
We don't always have to agree on everything, right? Like, I think governance, like what I learned from Wi-Fi is that, like, before, when I mined Wi-Fi, I thought, oh, this is government, this is bullshit, right? But the matter of fact is, some of my whale friends actually bought up the token and reduced the supply. And yeah, apologies to everyone. Apparently, they're the ones who actually stopped more YFI issuance. I found that out and I got so angry, right? Like, oh, these are genius plays, but at the same time, I'm like, screw you. I sold all my YFI expecting that there was going to be more to come out, right? So not like so I think there's a certain amount of value in the vote. Whether or not it is worth that much value is up for the community to decide. But the issue with Uniswap here, it's not just the governance, right? Governance is, I think it's almost like a code word for interest and distributions. I think that's why all of a sudden Uniswap got a lot of power too. It's not just because of the governance, but the governance can decide how to spend the treasury, right? That's the 1 million IQ play there. So this is why people are, and you've seen that as well when Uniswap first launched. When Uni first launched, you saw that price go from $2 and it just dumped, right? It kept dumping and dumping. And then like I sold when I first started, and then I start buying some at around $2.10, $2.20, $2.30, climbing that way up because I knew there were other whales also buying the same thing. There was a lot of accumulation going on. It's
There
most
was
likely
a ton of accumulation, man. The
yeah.
first 24 hours was
Yeah.
$2.5 billion of volume,
Yeah.
which if you just say, okay, let's assume it's half and half split, buying and selling, that means there was about over $1 billion of buy pressure onto this Uni token,
Yeah.
which blows my mind. Like, I'll be honest, I sold that bag instantly. I'm like,
Like
are you kidding me? I'm like, $4 billion fully diluted market cap. I'm like, ship it. I'm like, get this thing out of here. That's insane. But I couldn't believe it. And I think it speaks so much to like how people just love the clout or like the energy around something. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's Uniswap. It's got to be a top 30 project. And I mean, I guess you like governance tokens a little bit more than I do.
Well, I think it's just a certain amount of power there. So there was a certain amount of like, okay, what can we do with the treasury? What can we do with the profits that Uniswap generates? Obviously, we've seen calculations out there where like people are calculating, okay, look, if Uniswap has this many transactions and it grows like this in such a way, all of a sudden maybe transaction fees can add up to this much, and then you can start distributing, and once you start distributing, that's worth value, right? So I think like it's highly speculative though, right? I think that's another key issue here, which is like okay, can Uniswap grow that fast? Okay, maybe, all right. But the second speculation here is, okay, what can you do with governance? And
that's the key.
And that's a whole speculation. So this market is extremely speculative, and people are so used to speculation that they don't care about it anymore. I feel like people are so desensitized to speculation, right? And I think even a little bit earlier on, like people were like, oh, talk about Falcon Swap. I don't want to throw this out there, but something about Falcon Swap is that their code's not really released yet. Or at least when I saw it for the first time, it's like, okay, I saw no code. They had this great image, but like, how do you even analyze such a product without code, right? You're just analyzing purely on speculation. So this is what we're kind of accustomed in this space, and I think it's actually quite detrimental overall, because when there's so much speculation afoot, your price can go and maybe some people like that, right? Like I think that some people like that, but for like a more of a hodler mentality, which is something that I've been in, it's like that's hard. So I think yes, absolutely, there's a lot of people speculating on what unis can do in the future, and I think there's a lot of like hopefulness in there, but as it played out the way it played out. And thank you for the free tokens, like that's great. So
exactly, yeah, Hayden, thank you. But yeah, man, it's unbelievable. Like, because it's just like a double layered speculation in my book. Speculation number one: can the governance token allow that shift in financial structure? They have VCs on board on Uniswap, and there's already a financial structure in place. So VCs, they don't want to be giving away that much money. They want to hold a tight grasp of that money. So, okay, are they going to be okay to distribute that to the community? And then if it passes that hurdle, then hurdle number two is, okay, well now who's going to earn this? Who's going to earn the rewards? Is going to be an oligarchy. And so I think it's just like this crazy, I mean, Yeah,
And there's another rumor too. There's another rumor that Binance and all the CeFi is buying those coins because they actually want to buy up the competitor so they can keep an eye on the competitor too. So like that's an
Oh,
interesting rumor too. Like that like a few of my friends are coming out like that
yeah.
CeFi wants to at least hold some of these tokens so they have some sway in the governance of it. So that's an interesting thought too. May or may not be. I'm not. That's like a little bit over
What
speculation for me. But
that would be that would
that'd be
be
interesting.
a crazy play that Binance or one of these centralized exchanges
Yeah.
buys up the supply and then totally undermines the governance of Uniswap. That would be I would not be surprised if something like that happened. It
Yeah,
was
because
unbelievable.
yeah,
Go for it.
because it's absolutely the power of a DAO means that it's coded into the contract that like this can happen. So absolutely, like yeah, like I don't think Binance or any CeFi will be evil here, but at least keeping check on it, maybe control what lists on here. This will be very interesting. I mean, I don't know, like it could be a very interesting play.
Yeah. So what
But
do you
I
think
mean,
about? I've been pretty vocal recently about my disdain for centralized exchanges.
mm, mm, mm.
What do you see in the future? Like, let's say things like Falcon Swap, Unilayer, Unitrade, all these layer two StakeNet, all these like platforms come out that allow for low fee peer-to-peer trading on dexes, and let's say then you integrate a fiat on-ramp, because I think that's really the only value proposition to centralized exchanges
Mm.
with like Wire or something like that. Like, do centralized exchanges even have a fighting chance anymore? Like, or like leverage trading, but you can build that on a dex too. Like, what footing do they have?
I think so, but there's two sides to the coin here, right? Like I actually really like how Dexus completely changed the gaming landscape, right? So first of all, I think everyone can realize, in fact, the centralized exchanges realize this the most, where all of a sudden their business model is at risk, right? So all of a sudden Binance started listing coins like crazy, right? Like every week, just every day, boom, boom, bam, bam, whatever's new, they want to
Yeah,
list it so they retain users, right? There was this
yeah,
actual fear that if they don't list it, like think about how Uni just got onto Coinbase and on Binance on the day it was launched, right? That's because of how powerful Uni is, right? Because all of a sudden,
yeah,
Uni is providing a way for any coin to list, any coin to have liquidity. And before that, there were DEXs, but the whole idea of this automated market machine is also very novel. I think people understand the exchange part, but the market making side is just insane because now you can
yeah.
crowdsource your liquidity, right? This is like
Yes.
whoop, this is like next level stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like all of a sudden you have this additional ability there. Obviously, centralized exchanges, they still have some tools. So obviously people are complaining that on Uniswap you can barely set up a limit order of any sort. Like if you really want to trade, you go on CoinGecko, maybe you set an alarm and then boom, if it hits that target, you run the computer and
Yeah.
and then you start the trade. And if it doesn't work, you have to like slam it down again, second time,
That's
cancel
right.
that transaction, right? Just there's still a lot of issues to work out, obviously we have other dexes as well. So recently I talked a lot about Serum, so that's on the other front
Right.
where it's the stuff that FTX is building. If you actually use it, you can actually see the cross chains with Ethereum, so you can wrap ERC20 on Serum and not on Serum, on Solana or rather, so the blockchain. So you can wrap it on Solana and then bring it onto Serum to start trading, and there you can set limit orders, etc. It's actually quite powerful. So I see that being pushed very very heavily forward. And yeah, centralized exchanges, I feel like they already feel the heat, which is
Yeah.
great, because like before
It
there are so many shady things going on with centralized exchanges too.
It's
uh,
unbelievable, man. Like Trustswap's been listed on, a handful of exchanges, three of which have with stopped withdrawals, and like for
yeah,
2 months, and then everyone's like, "Yo, where are the withdrawals happening?" And they're just kind of like passing the buck on them. And then finally, like I had to go on my personal Twitter and throw shade at these guys and be like, "Yo, open up withdrawals." And then it happens within the hour. I'm like, "You
yeah,
guys are pieces of shit. Like,
yeah,
why would it, there's maybe like a handful of good centralized exchanges that, because I think it's for mom or dad to hop on and use Uniswap and connect your wallet, pay the oh no, then you got to go into advanced and put it to 1,000 gas, and okay, that's just to confirm that you want to do the trade and approving the token. They can now go here. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a thing, but
And the
Yeah.
biggest issue is like I think the trust swap phenomena, right? Like, because the exchanges were involved, they didn't have any of the coins, but they still want to list trust swap anyways, right? And I think that was the
Yeah.
biggest issue. That was the shadiness that was going on. They were allowing trades for coins that they didn't have. Right. This is why
That's
the
it.
withdrawals were stopped. Right. So what happened was that they allowed exchanging. So say they just created this swap out of nowhere. Right. They allowed users to trade it. It's not backed by anything. So what happens when people want to withdraw? The prices kept going up. So eventually, that exchange that created this out of thin air has to buy swap from the market because obviously they don't have anything to back it up, right? So they can't just find it out of nowhere. So they go and they say, look, okay, it's 10x from the time when we created this out of thin air. Turns out, we probably should have market bought some, but we didn't, and now it's 10x already, and we don't want to spend this extra money. We don't want to lose money. But the problem is, of course, people want to do withdrawals, so it took a lot of pressure. So I mean, they were essentially running a scam, right? They were trading
Yeah.
stuff that they didn't have, and when users wanted to call their bluff on it, when users wanted to say, "Look, I want to withdraw, I want to take it out of the exchange," they're like, "Oh, we don't have any actually, by the way." But so I think you put a lot of pressure on there, which is really good. I think that's something that's amazing for a project because a lot of times projects they want to respect these exchanges as well, right? But this was a clear case where they were just abusing users, right? They're outright abusing users and saying, you know what, we're not letting you withdraw because we don't have any coins in the first place. We're gonna just like stall you for a month, maybe wait for the prices to go down. This is like just absolutely just frivolous fraud, right? So
Yeah. And that's exactly what was happening. And then there would be like, for example, on regular exchanges, let's say swap was trading at $1, on those exchanges be trading at 50 cents. So that they would be able to, accumulate more swap to kind of make up for the deficit in the
yes,
meantime. And
yes.
then when withdrawals went online, withdrawal fees were like $30, and that was before the 1,000 gwei gas fees. So it was just like out of control. Like my mind's just blown. And for example, there's I guess I probably can't say the name because of NDAs and stuff, but particular exchanges that we listed on, a couple months ago, they charge like 50,000, maybe 100,000. I'm talking to a couple friends now, and now they're again charging $300,000. And I'm like, sorry, where? Like, sure, there's a little bit of a bull market, but like, dial it back a bit, guys. Like, have you seen Uniswap? Like, I think the biggest thing, like the biggest thing is liquidity. And like, we've listed on BitMax, Poloniex, like a bunch of other larger ones. And guess what? Nobody trades there. Everyone says they want to trade there, but they don't really. They just want it because it sounds good. And we had to like pull front or liquidity from Uniswap to put it onto Poloniex so that there'd actually be like somewhere a centralized exchange for people to trade. It's like, man, this whole market is ass backwards right now. People need to get familiar with DEXs.
That's insane. So the story of here is that CeFi, like there are some exchanges with their heads so stuck in the sand that they want to charge these ridiculous fees, and then when no one trades on, like after you list and like you discuss, and when no one trades on there, then you're like, oh, they're like, oh, help increase liquidity, right? Like we're basically doing everything for you. Like, don't you realize that your your life, like your lifeline is this short right now? Like that's the insanity of it. So I feel like DeFi has actually changed a lot of that. So it immediately impacted the whole CeFi business model. So no longer can they charge these ridiculous fees. No project in the right mind will pay that anyways. And users are starting to trade a lot more in Uniswap. Okay, minus the fees, right? Right now the fees are a little bit high,
Right.
like understatement of the century. But I think all of a sudden there's this huge change, and it started affecting the centralized exchanges in crypto first. But I can see this going out much further than that, right? Because once you affected the crypto space, what about the whole centralized finance space? What about global finance? What about the stock market, right? So I feel like there's a lot of hope here where right now we're still in beta. Right now, all these DEXs are still in beta, but one thing that's amazing is that we already see that it can be used. People love using it. Second of all, lots of users. But third of all, it's much more transparent. You can't do any of the shady stuff, right? When you do the exchange, you actually get the coins, right? Not on a centralized exchange where they can potentially not have any coins backing it at all. So it completely removes this trust issue. And this is something I was telling Dima from Hacken as well, right? He was saying, oh look, he's taking the fight against CeFi. I mean, like centralized exchanges, like telling the world how much shady stuff they do. But And the matter of fact is, we don't need to do that anymore. With decentralized exchanges, everything is transparent, everything is open, and that's just so powerful. So I'm a big believer in this. I think it will 100% stop all the shadiness that's going on because it is transparent. You can see everything on a blockchain. And then on top of that, I mean, the other scary thing about CeFi was you know what they do, right? They take your coins. So they don't take your coins. They take user coins. So I mean, obviously users deposit the coins on centralized exchanges, and then they withdraw that. So they take user funds, take it to another exchange, and just dump it. They have a free short, right? So that's been happening for the past, 2018, 2019. Why were coins going down so much in price? Was because all the centralized exchanges were effectively shorting everything they had on their exchange. So it's like, that was the crazy part. It wasn't just because users were selling, the exchangers were selling it on their behalf, dumping it, and then eventually buying it when it's lower and then returning it back to the exchange. So like there's so much shady stuff going on. So I believe that like this happens in crypto, but because it happens crypto, you kind of know that happens in real life too. Just that in real life it's much better hidden. Like this is
Right.
this is the great thing about crypto, right? It teaches you everything about life because like crypto is so much more transparent, and people are so bad at hiding their tracks, right? But 100%, this is not a new behavior. This is behavior that happens always in real life. So then you can automatically assume that in Wall Street, all these exchanges are shady, just that they hide it much better. I mean, this is why we have all these like billions of dollars of funds stolen from like a credit card company out of nowhere, right? Like how does this stuff happen? It's because shady stuff happens all the time,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
so it
I
happens.
think just like yesterday, it was like there was a massive investigation revealing of billions, if it not, it was even like the $1 trillion range of like banks laundering money. It must have been billions for criminal activity. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable. And like
yeah,
these are the people that we trust as the pillars of our like financial
right.
institutions. And then everyone's like, oh, Bitcoin, crypto is for criminals. It's like, value is for criminals, value is for transacting. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like there's always going to be this range, there's always going to be scams, there's always going to
Yes.
be like good players. So it's just such a joke. It's well,
It is, and you hear these stories, right? Like billions is absolutely true, and there's something called an anonymous Swift transfer, where you don't actually know where the origin of that Swift transfer happens from, and that's like the golden like um standard for money laundering. Like it happens all the time right now, and like the worst part is like you hear people brag, right? Sometimes you hear people brag in the world, and they're like asking for anonymous Swift transfer, and the worst part is it happens, right? And the thing is, the banks actually got caught for this. This is why the banks get fined, and you can search this up, right? You can search how many times these banks get fined, get caught red-handed doing criminal activity, and then they get excused because, well, we don't want to shut them down because they're the only ones out there, right? So, I have the Hong Kong background here, but like if you just look at everything down there, it's all banks, right? That's like the whole Hong Kong harbor side. They're all banks, and that's what we're fighting for. So I always like to put that into perspective. Like I feel like this is one of the biggest objectives of DeFi. It's not just to tackle down centralized exchanges in crypto, but you know tackle down that. So if we can do that, then it's like GG, right? That's what this whole space is worth.
100%, man. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see kind of like a Fight Club-esque style montage where all the buildings fall down and then crypto is what we have left and it's only Bitcoin and off we go into this new paradigm. It would be beautiful. I just think, there's always going to be this coexistence of the two ecosystems. And I love the ability to opt out of
Mm.
this traditional system. And then even within crypto, you can choose to opt out of certain things. Like
Yeah,
there's whether you're like, oh, ETH fees are too high, okay, well then go to another chain. Like Tron is picking up momentum right now, which is crazy, but it is
it's
because the
great.
fees are
It
so
is.
high.
It is. It's great. It's.
So are
I
you big
think
on the Tron right now?
Yes and no. I mean, I did actually use Tron for the first time after the whole yield farming thing. I thought there was a good opportunity there, and I was like, you know what, farmers farm, yield is yield. I'll go there. It's free transactions, so it is a
Yeah,
smoother experience. But the problem with Tron is you're always playing against the house because Justin owns so much of Tron, and I experienced
right.
that firsthand, right? Like I farmed some Pearl up, and the Pearl prices went like Holy shit, guys! It was like the biggest red candle I've ever seen. So, like it went from like 5,000 to like 500 or something in a space of like 24 hours and stuff. I mean, maybe it's not Justin's fault. Maybe it's like the community's fault or whatnot. But at the same time, you know that Justin owns a lot of Tron, so basically he can farm a lot too. So he can literally control
Oh,
everything. Like the rumor here is that during the Chinese refund, right? So Tron was issued out as a Chinese ICO, and then because ICOs became illegal, he had to refund everything, which meant that he also got all his Tron back. Now, if you own 95% of your token supply, there's a lot you can do. There's plenty you can do.
that's very true. What an interesting, if that is true in regards to the Pearl dumping, such a short-sighted move because here you have Tron and the potential able to like dethrone or like at least like take a bite out of ETH's pie in terms of like this whole yield farming DeFi craze. And then you like, in my opinion, if I was Justin or anyone on like the Tron exec board, I'd be like, yo, we got to make sure that this thing goes up and stays up because this is our
Yeah,
flagship.
but okay. But Pro is not officially Tron. So Sun is officially Tron. So anything with Justin's name on it is Tron. So he can't really control what is done on his platform. But at the same time, maybe his generals down there, they're doing this, and maybe they're short-sighted too. So there might be some things there. But yeah, that's my kind of experience with Tron. It wasn't too good, but I mean at the same time, the usability of it, okay, before people burn me and before people say everything, but we do need something better. So in that respect as well, like people are gonna hate me, but when I transfer USDT now, I use Tron USDT, just because it's free. I'm like, I'm gonna save my $5 every time.
Saving those $5.
It matters. It matters. Right? You're doing like 10 transfers a day. That's $5. It adds up. And you're using Tron for such a short period of time. It's not going to break down, right?
That's unbelievable.
So, anyways, that's the fun thing. So that is and also we got Binance Smart Chain coming up as well. Are you thinking of doing anything for Binance Smart Chain on your side?
Yeah, we're contemplating it with Uptrend, to be honest, because right now, for example, all transactions on Uptrend are off chain, and then to get it on chain, that's a transaction on our side, and we don't want to go Coinbase route and say, hey, guess what, users, you guys are paying the fees now, which is unbelievable for $1 billion company to do. So yeah, we're looking into different options on how we can essentially get people's value into wallets. So, we're going to be implementing that Qi gas token really soon as one of the options where it like buys the gas cheap and then you burn it when it's more expensive. So that'll save money. But yeah, we're looking into it, but kind of passively, to be honest. We're just kind of going the Qi route for right now, kind of keeping it simple.
I mean, there's actually two good options for it, actually. You can either do Binance Smart Chain, which is ERC20 compatible. But if you don't really have much more code and you're just using it as a token per se, just go the Solana route. I guess it depends on how many people want to do it, but I think it's viable. Like at this point of time, it's important not to be stubborn and say, oh, we must use Ethereum, because I feel like Ethereum scaling is going to take a while. Let's be honest here. It's
been 3 months away for the last 3 years.
Yeah. So like realistically speaking, when is ETH2 realistically going to change gas prices, right? Because ETH2, even when it deploys, it's going to deploy as phase 0, which is primarily a way to generate randomness for developers. It's not really a way to solve scaling. That comes in phase 1, and phase 1 is really scheduled for next year. Next year. Not too fun, okay? But that's just realistic, right? So a lot of people are asking like, okay, what about Falcon Swap? Can I solve it? But the problem is Falcon Swap doesn't have code out. That we don't know how to use it. So everyone's like, so we're speculating. And also like the Qi prices. Like Qi is a temporary solution. Basically, you build up all your gas when it's cheap. Like right now, like maybe it's cheap. Okay, look, let's build up some gas fees here, but it's not a permanent solution. It's only delaying, or it's shifting the problem, right, to some time else. So
yes, it's putting a band-aid on a bad infection is what it's doing.
It is. We got a lot of questions from the community. The community was like, "Oh, hey, we got a question from number of things. Are you guys planning to take questions from viewers?" Absolutely, guys. We will definitely take it. I mean, Jeff and I are both reading it. That's why my eyes are glancing up and down.
This one from Sela. Jeff is so cute. Hey, Sela.
Oh man. You should check him out in the gym. He's like, we've been in the
Yeah,
gym together.
yeah, but you're the icebox, the ice
Ah,
plunge sensei. I can't touch you on that.
no, man, I think you're like, oh man, we had a really great time. I think we were in Bali, and just to fill you guys in, we're in Bali. We're working on the gym. I was actually getting fit for once, and there's this ice box plunge where you just dip yourself in ice because that's meant to purge all the like the. It's meant to stimulate your body. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Like it's meant to
Yeah.
after you work out, it's meant to stimulate you, and also being so cold, it forces the blood to be circulating. So, anyways, we were trying daring each other to go for longer periods of time. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so let's answer a few questions. Everyone's asking about this. So, Jeff, what's your thoughts on Axion on Trustswap collaboration?
Yeah, so first off, to set the framework, for anyone who's not familiar with Axion, it's a fork of Hex currency. So it uses certificates of deposit, which essentially is like you lock in your stake. It gives you a fixed interest rate. The Hex system, if nobody knows, like Hex is a monster right now. It has like $1 billion market cap or something. And the framework, I think, is like has a lot to be desired. The like Richard Hart, the origin address takes like 80%, no, 100% of the profits. And so what Axion does is just like redistribute that back to the community, which I think is super cool. And their mainnet's launching in like, I think last I heard it was like a week or something. So I think I'm really excited to see where that's going because right now the market cap's at like 50 million or something crazy low in comparison. But yeah, in terms of Trustswap Axion collaboration, nothing to announce just yet. We have some ideas brewing, but nothing yet. Still working on that. But I would say if you wait, for everyone who's curious, wait like 30 days, and there'll be something out in the wild.
Yeah, let's focus more on like I think we're gonna debate endlessly on Axion. I think we've done that before, where like we totally disagree on our views there. Like I feel like I'm a value guy, right? I always like value. I
Sure.
don't like what is a certificate of deposit? I mean, like
I mean, it's their fancy way of saying like stake it for a certain period of time, and then
and you
you're going
get
to get
more, right?
X rewards. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. Like, I mean, that's all that's happening in crypto right now is like
Mm,
stake and
mm,
APY. Except with Axion, you're getting it's a variable APY based on how many people are within the pool. And
mm,
then what else is badass is there's like an auction thing. So like every day, like people can free claim these tokens for free. But if they
mm.
miss out or there's penalties, it goes into this auction and people buy that auction at a discount with ETH. They take that fucking ETH and they buy back the Axion token. So it's a cool idea. I won't shill it much more than that, but like, because I mean, like, well, here, let me put it this way. What do you think is shitty about it?
I think it's the value. So you see some things with yield farming too, where it enters the same cycle, right? What's the purpose of this coin? Well, to stake more, to get more.
Sure.
All right. And I feel like eventually it has to deliver some form of value. And I think this is the phase that we're struggling with yield farming now, where there were a lot of projects that just created themselves and said, look, we're a fork of Wi-Fi. Okay, great.
Mm,
But do we actually do anything? Nah, it's okay. We just want to do the farming thing. And those coins are the valueless coins, right? They just plummet to zero, right?
right.
And the ongoing thing with yield farmers, like, okay, yield is yield. If someone wants them, they can have them, but we're just gonna farm them and just dump it on people, right? Then obviously there were some useful projects that came out of yield farming. I mean, Wi-Fi, the first one, obviously, because Andre has so much on his pockets, right? Whether it's creating some
Right.
form of crypto insurance or the Y vaults, etc., etc. That's why the project's worth so much, right? Because all of a sudden now we can take profits from an actual business like a insurance sort of business, and then you can take that and give it to the token holders. That gives it actual value, right? So a
Mhm.
lot of yield farming projects actually suffered that. So you have like maybe Hot Dog, or Hot Dog was a scam, or maybe
Right.
or all these like ones where the developers they just forked a bunch of code, copy pasted code, launched it, and then had no other plan with it. And then I think that's the biggest problem because you don't have an actual business or a business model at the end. At the end of the day, like something like Uniswap, as much as you want to complain about it, Uniswap does generate fees. Every time you send a transaction, you can see very clearly that there is a liquidity provider fee, right?
Mhm.
There's a fee model there, just like Binance or FTX or whatnot. They take fees, and that fee can be given to people. So you have an external way of generating income. So I feel like this is the biggest problem with staking for the sake of staking, where if you don't have a business model associated with it, if you don't have any way to generate external income and you're just distributing your own coins, then I think that's a big problem. That's almost creates a BitConnect type of situation where, okay, you farm to farm more, but at what time does it collapse is the biggest issue.
Yeah, no, and I definitely like appreciate that perspective. I think kind of the way that when I was getting into crypto, I'm like, this is a new financial paradigm, is what it feels like
Mm,
to me. And like if I look at our current financial paradigms, we have inflation that's going out to corporations. We have bailout packages, like just happened in the United States, trillions of dollars to corporations. It's like it's disenfranchising the people, and the inflation mechanism is is totally out to lunch. So I feel like I don't really know of any other systems that distribute inflation in a way where the purchasing power of your dollar, if you're interacting, like if you interact in this particular system, your purchasing power will increase over time. I don't really like see that mechanic happening anywhere else. So
mm,
it's an interesting thought. And I mean, like, I agree, because at the beginning I was really harping on the Uniswap token. So I'm like, I don't think it does that much. So I'm kind of like being a little bit of a, what's the word here?
hypocrite.
Hypocrite. That's the word. Yeah. I'm a hypocrite on myself. But like you look at you just to like play both sides, because that's what I like about these chats is like, it's just
Mm,
like a well-rounded conversation. And I'm looking
mm,
at like CoinGecko, not at CoinMarketCap, at CoinGecko. And
mhm,
the like the top tokens are just value tokens. You got
mm,
Bitcoin, you got Litecoin, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, Bitcoin Cash,
mm.
Monero. It's like these don't do anything else besides hold value in an intelligently designed system. So I think that's kind of interesting.
That's just a good way. And this is actually very key to how me and Jeff work. We always play the devil's advocate almost all the time. And I think that's
Right.
a way to grow how you think about things, right? I think that's actually kind of key here in crypto because it's so different from like yeah, like you said with the financial paradigm, it is different. So you got to start thinking. For me, it's always I'm always down to earth. I'm always like, you know what, you have to generate some sort of value somehow. But I do agree that Bitcoin has no value generation. But I think Bitcoin has its value by being the first. It delivered its value by giving us blockchain, right?
Sure.
It was the first one that demonstrated use case. Now, yet again, it's like you talk about like Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin cash, and I was like, I don't really touch that. It doesn't have any sort of value. So every time I look at that project, for me, it's like, okay, what is the long term value? What makes it different from Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is the first one, which means that
Yeah.
it has a lot of legitimacy by being the first one there, by being the creator, right? It gave its value already. Now,
Right.
anyone that tries to copy that, you need to copy, innovate, and be 10 times better. So, like, I would say, look, Monero, I would say it has value by being privacy oriented. So, it actually
Sure.
delivered on crypto node, and then now it's actually has quite a lot. It's actually added quite a lot of functionality as well with the addition of bulletproofs to improve how fast transactions transfer. So I'm not transaction. It reduces the transaction headway. So that's kind of crazy. So I feel like, okay, look, it delivers some sort of value there. So that's how I generally look at new coins where I would say, look, does it deliver value more? So you would say, okay, the Axion proposition would be to have a different value distribution, but
Hmm.
then is that enough to justify a new coin? That's where the debate can occur. So yet again, I would
Yeah.
say, I would say it's not enough, but then you can argue maybe it is enough. Maybe that's novel enough to play. So I think that's cool. So let's move on a little bit as well because Trustswap is also launching quite a lot of stuff. It's launching mainnet finally delivering a product because I think a lot of people were like, Trustswap has nothing. Now it has something, right? Which is great. So can
Yeah,
you give us
everyone
a
was. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, everyone was screaming vaporware, vaporware. I'm like, my boys, like this has been 60 days since we had the idea. Like, relax a little bit. And yeah, we launched mainnet on Monday, which is like phase one of our products and services.
Mhm.
And we already have like a decent amount of people, projects using the services. So we got like the team token locks, investor token locks, multiple recurring payments, single event future payments, and then I think escrow services is going to be launching within the next 7 days once we get the audit come back from Hacking. So
Nice,
it's actually
nice.
been really cool. Yeah. And then like all these projects are approaching swap right now. Like this has been the funnest part actually. Well, not the funnest, but one of the cool aspects is like there's so many people keen to do airdrops to swap holders, which
Mm.
I think has become such a really cool value proposition for
Yeah.
people who are holding and staking swap, because it's like, just hold this token and people literally want to give you free money. Like that's, I don't really know of any other
That's because
times that
Jeff's so
that's happened in
handsome,
crypto.
like it's because you smile and you're like, we gotta give more to trust token holders, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so queuing in, Trust was really built on this idea that there was this kind of like a little bit of a hole in the market where people didn't have the ability to distribute token over time, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the best parts of the project, and in fact, starting out, I was like, oh, okay, maybe like we'll see what they have. But I think the speed at which he moved was actually pretty impressive. I think that was the most, you immediately build up the Trustswap launchpad. So like you can launch projects, and then obviously the projects can then use Trustswap, right? I think that's such a
Yeah.
good way to encourage people to do it, because if you do have that platform there, if people are loving you as everyone is right now, that's a great way. So I definitely admire that about the movement, which is where you pushed along, you added value, and you gave more value to the community. So
Yeah,
thanks
no,
for
thanks.
that.
I appreciate that. That means a lot actually, and I think it's been like really fun to have it evolve. Yeah, like the launchpad was never the intention from day one, nor even like day 20 had we even thought of it. But
Mm,
just like all these different softwares that people were suggesting, it was like, wow, all this is coming together. Like team token locks, investor token locks,
mm,
event-based payments, and like that's everything you'd want. Well, I mean, liquidity locks is one thing that we haven't partnered up with yet. But I'm like, once you have that, kind of 4 plus marketing, I guess that's 5. You're set as a project. So I'm like, yeah, like Launchpad, and that's been the thing that's been gaining the most traction. I think has been the Launchpad and the airdrops, and I think that's which has been in one hand like really unfortunate. I wish it was other things, like it was like the software, and people are like, yeah, software. But I mean, like that's never how it works. Everyone's more like, hey, more
more
free money. So
coins.
yeah.
I think
So
you caught on a very good time. I think like all of a sudden, there were more projects that needed this, but at the same time, I mean, that's the thing, right? You lock them in the system, you got them on the launchpad, they start using it. That's how you get adoption, right? And
mhm.
then everyone's happy at the end. And I think that's also another good thing about crypto overall. It's like you got to realize and you got to move fast, right? If people want this, you should give it to them. There's no reason not to. I think that's something that pisses me off about Bitcoin maximalism, almost to say, right? Maximalists will only think in a certain direction, and we have these mini wars going on, and who's more maximalist than the other guy, right? But at the end of the day, it's about being flexible, right? And I think that's something that's kind of core into everything that's DeFi right now, even that space. Not just being flexible, but giving people what they want, and also help build a community out. And that's I think that's kind of core.
Mhm.
All right, so let's answer some questions and Q&A. So, okay, we had some things about I love this. I got this. Victor Lavaza says, I'm sure if Box Money can just look into Axion, he'll be amazed. Massive proposition. Is that
Come
the
on, boxes. Come on. Join us. One of us.
I love this. I'm like, I see this like with Hex all the time too. It's like if you just look into it.
That's right. Yeah.
I love it. I love the community sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shobo Baggins says, Jeff, can we get some liquidity into Sushiswap? So
Oh man, this was like, this crushed my heart and soul. I don't even know if I told you this story.
no,
So
you had not.
sushi, oh man, honestly, like my heart hurts thinking about it right now. So because Sushi Swap had a vote like a week in, I barely even knew what sushi was, but someone's like, yo, this thing, Sushi Swap, they're having a vote. You should get Trust Swap in there. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And so we get in, and it was like, they were adding more liquidity pairs to Sushi Swap, like the next
Mm-hmm.
4. And I was like, okay, we had like, I think it was like 6 hours left or something. So I'm putting it into the community. And within like, I think it was 15 minutes, we had 30% of what was required to be the number 4, which would have got us as a liquidity pair on Sushi Swap. And then, but turns out it was only, we had a 15-minute window.
Oh
So
shit, yeah.
someone or I had read it wrong, and I was like, no. Like, I would have just like taken my entire piggy bank and emptied it onto that thing to get it done. But
Uh,
yeah, so I don't even know if you can add new liquidity pairs to Sushiswap now. I don't think so. Hey?
it's you can, but it's just whether
Oh,
or
really?
not it will be rewarded, right? So you can SushiSwap function the same way as Uniswap does. So you can add the
Oh,
liquidity
that's what he's
pair,
asking.
yeah,
Oh, I
but you
thought he
can
meant like
add
as a
more.
yield
But I mean,
farmer.
obviously, if you have an incentive, I think if you mine sushi out of it, it will be great, right? So that would be
Right.
the most optimal situation. But
Yeah.
I think it's a situation where like there was a period when I couldn't keep up with anything. Like that was a crazy part, right? I couldn't keep up with
Yeah.
sushi. I couldn't keep up with it was just so many farms going on at the same time. It was just like absolute insanity. Like there was YFE, there's now Moon Swap, there's like Gem
Right.
Swap, there's now Bakery Swap, and Burger Swap on BSC.
Oh my God.
But I actually I would encourage you to look into that. Like if
If
like
only I just looked into it, right?
if only you just looked into it. But
Yeah.
the bridging between right now, bridging between even not even bridging, right? Getting assets onto Binance Smart Chain is interesting. I would say that's actually something worth looking into.
Hmm.
Bakery Swap is basically Uniswap for Binance Smart Chain, and
Okay.
it just functions pretty much the same, and same with Bakery Swap and Burger. So Burger Swap is probably the more legitimate one, but anyways, regardless, there's so much liquidity there, and I would say like trading on BSC is just such a better experience. Not to piss off all the Ethereum guys. I mean, I know I love Ethereum, just get me here, but like at the same time, like I need to start promoting people to move away from Ethereum so the congestion gets less, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
so
I think Ethereum is like getting a little bit maximalist-y, just like Bitcoin is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's like Bitcoin or die, or it's like, oh, Ethereum or die. And I think, we both agree. It's like, no, that's not really how it should be. I think people should be able to, make choices, have selections. If you want low fees, go there. If, that's what crypto is about, is like the ability to
yeah,
choose. That's why
yeah.
I'm so excited about it.
And I think that's part of the spirit of crypto too, right? Like a lot of people are very angry. Like they're like, "Oh, sushi swap, it's just a copy paste of Uniswap. It's completely worthless." But the matter of fact is that Uniswap open sourced for a reason, right? So you open all your code, you let people copy it all they want, and they can make micro innovations all they want as well. And I feel
Right.
like that's how this space grew so fast in the first place, is by that spirit, right? There is definitely in it within Ethereum, there is this a maximalist mentality, and there's also more of a frat boy mentality. Like there is definitely a circle jerk going on within the core Ethereum projects. That they made some good friends early on, and I saw this for firsthand during Ethereum DevCon. That was the kind of the darker side of it, where newer projects that were coming in, they might have very, very legitimate backgrounds, but they weren't getting accepted in the inner circle. I mean, everyone in
Right.
the inner circle made a frick ton of money, right? Whether it's Golem or like whatever the OGs, right?
Yeah.
Your OMGs and your other guys. I mean, they have a small tight knit circle. That's great because they fought against the world at that time, right? You think about Ethereum, how hard they had to fight, right, to overcome the maximalism, right, that was going on. They fought that war. Their band of brothers. They deserve to be rewarded and deserve to be together, but they also need to open up a little bit. So there was that feeling of maximalism in that community as well. But I hope that gets alleviated over time, and I think it's not detrimental to talk about other projects because obviously at this time we're all trying to work together and like let's push this to the next level. Let's break those banks down there. That's the key point here.
Fully agreed.
Cool. So let's do some Q&A. Like we've been talking for an hour. I think it's great
That's
that
good, man.
or it's good that I'm sitting down. We have 368 people watching, so thank you guys for all tuning in today. Almost 400 people listening to us chat a little bit. If you guys have any concerns, I feel like probably a lot of people would be concerned about the market right now. Let me just take a look at everything. Like, are we going down or up? I've been chatting for an hour, so I've got to be like,
Yeah.
be
I
like,
don't have any time constraints either, so it's all up to you.
Yeah, and a big apologies for having a late start, guys. So we kind of messed up the story. I thought he was on EST Eastern time, so I was like, oh, 10 o'clock. That's 10 o'clock my time, 12-hour difference, right? And then all of a sudden we realized, nope, it's actually a 10-hour difference. So
That'll
apologies for
happen.
that.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. Um, okay, let's see. We got illegal haircut. Jeff, where did you get your haircut?
You know what? For the first time ever, I got it cut at a salon.
Oh,
Usually I just go to some like crappy $12 haircut place. I mean, it's just like so simple. You like number three on the sides and a little trim on the top. Nothing, nothing fancy.
that's your secret, huh? So
Yeah,
was it illegal? Was it legal? Was it illegal? Where's your hideout place?
yeah. I don't get the reference on that one from that guy, but
Well,
yeah.
oh, because a lot of people they can't get haircuts right now, right?
Oh,
That's what's
shit.
illegal
Right. That's
haircuts.
right.
Yeah.
I live in Canada. We're groovy up here, man. We're like, we followed the rules. We all put our masks on, and now everyone's walking around like it isn't a thing.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. Oh, yeah,
It's
man.
gone
Like,
now.
well, we all still wear masks inside and stuff, but it's like really low key. Like, I was just out
Mm.
like playing this like game called pickleball, which is essentially like mini tennis. There was like 60 of us out there and no masks and like all in close quarters. If you haven't looked up pickleball for anybody listening, just take a look. It's
Nice, nice.
unbelievable, man. Anyways,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, that was weird because like I think a lot in America it's like it's still you can't get haircuts at all. So that's why there's a running illegal haircut meme here on
got
this
you.
channel at the very least. So all
Right.
right. Okay, so we got okay, the local vegan says Jeff, what future Trustswap service which hasn't yet launched are you most excited about? Ooh, that's a really good question.
That is a really good question. I mean, in the interim, the one that I'm really is going to be the escrow services. So being
Mm,
able to do deal flow, because right now, if like someone with
mm,
millions of dollars wants to be able to transact and buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin, they have to go through an exchange or use some OTC service that's going to charge them
mm,
1%, like pretty high fees. So the escrow services is something I'm incredibly excited for because not only are they going to be able to use that on the Trustswap network, where they can then just transact um, instantly or be able to vest the tokens over time. So let's say I'm selling, or like, let's say I'm selling someone like $1 million worth of swap and they're giving me $1 million in ETH. But I'm like, listen, I only want you to get the $1 million in swap like slowly. So you can't
mm,
dump on the market because that's a
mm,
huge thing. And to get that done is like a 5 to 10% fee using lawyers. But the thing that I'm the most excited about in that escrow service domain is actually being able to integrate that onto exchanges because exchanges need to do big OTC volume as well because you
mm,
can't just market dump on a lot of these exchanges. If you want to move 10 million, $100 million, takes time. So we've already integrated with we're integrating with Mandala Exchange, which uses Binance Cloud, so it has all the liquidity of Binance, and then we're just going to be able to like kind of copy paste that onto a ton of different exchanges. So that one I think is going to give a lot of staking rewards because stakers earn 80% of the rewards of the fees when they're paid in swap. But then I think to appease everybody, I'm the most excited about the launchpad, guys. We're going to pump out we are going to pump out tons of projects. There's lots of projects coming, and yeah, the launchpad is going to be fire, and it's only getting better. So I'm super excited about that.
Nice, nice. I actually want to talk
Yeah,
about escrow because a lot of people probably don't realize how powerful escrow is. Because I mean, obviously, when you want to buy a huge chunk of a token, the natural inclination is to just go to the founders and say, "Look, I want to buy this huge amount of token. Obviously, you guys probably have a lot of tokens yourselves. Let's figure out a deal." And a lot of times, you can ask for a discount because you're buying a huge chunk. You say you're a supporter, but obviously, the founders want you to hold for a longer period of time. So having
yeah,
a time delay is very important. Let's say they offer 10-20% discount on the current market price, and this is actually quite happens quite a lot. There's a lot of OTC channels where you can actually get discounts on particular coins if you buy a large quantity, right? But
yeah.
now it becomes the issue of A, trusting the other party, and B, making sure that they get it over a period of time so they don't just market dump. Otherwise, that's a stupid thing for founders, right? Let's say like a founder says, "Oh, I'll give you like a 20% discount," but then the guy just takes that coin and just market dumps it, then that's stupid, right? So you know
That happens a lot more than I think people would realize. Is that, you know, projects might be strapped for cash. They're so like, oh, okay, sure, I'll sell it at 20% discount, and then Buddy comes in and just slams those like 2, 3, however much, like whatever amount that is onto the market.
Yeah,
I think that, yeah. So
it's kind of
escrow,
crazy.
and yeah, so
Escrow is
escrow is
important.
going to be crazy. Sorry, go for it, man. Or
Go for it.
the little time lag is like kind of
It's
messing
true.
us. It's like half a second.
It is true that half a second matters a lot. So every time like people watch this and they're like, "Oh, why are you talking over each other? It's so rude. You know, you guys should respect each other." I'm like, dude, it's like like the world is not that small. We gotta. There's a time
Yeah.
delay, so it's just like, and this is actually not the worst one. I think we've also had like, you know, I've had like time delays of like 2 seconds before, and it's just like so bad.
Yeah, those are the monologue interviews, because then you just got to wait for the person to like finish their entire thing, and then you do an entire thing. Yeah, those are pain in the ass.
And then just wait 2 seconds. Oh, it's not even a discussion. But I think okay. Let's see. Can I? We got Rip Lanes. Is can I get a discount on Trustswap? How much do I need to buy?
Once we get the escrow services up, maybe we can start doing some of that. Because you know, transparently, Trustswap does do OTC deals, just like most other crypto companies. We have a big dev fund of tokens, and the purpose of that is to be able to fund the development of the company. So if we're able to offload those tokens, because obviously, you know, let's say we have 15 million tokens, which I think it is right now, we don't want to sell that on the market to be able to fund it. We want to be able to get that into the hands of people who are going to hold it, and that's our value. And so being able to invest that over time or pay people out using that dev fund, you know, who are either developers, marketers, whatever it may be, that's the ideal. So yeah, once we have the escrow services up, I'm excited to build it, to be honest, and like to have it fully built, and just like this like nice user interface, so kind of like a marketplace for OTC deals is kind of what I envision, which will be really cool. It's like, hey, do you want to get like a 10% discount on this coin? Like, it's available, and here are the terms. I
Mm.
think that's gonna be really cool.
That's actually quite powerful because, like, I mean, I was talking to the guys at Bounce, right? So they're also trying to do something for OTC and for escrow. But I think the strategy here is not just to allow the deal to happen, but to add the delay, to add the vesting to it, which is the power, the where the power comes in, right? Because just a secure area for trading. Okay, once a trade happens, you know, they can do whatever they want with that coin. So having you know, that delay there is actually rather important. That's to say the least, right?
100%.
Okay, so let's go for the comments. We're just gonna do Q&A. You guys can talk about anything you want. I mean, you know, I think that's a great part about this. We're all very transparent people. I definitely respect you for just telling people what's happening. There's such a taboo about dev funds right now. Like everyone's so freaking out. It's like the same thing with the Sushiswap thing. Like, oh, he sold his dev fund. It's like, oh my god, like, calm down, people. Like,
I mean, you could have done that a little bit better, but
yes.
I know where you're coming from.
I mean, it's like it's fair game, right? That's the part of crypto. I mean, it's unpopular opinion, but it's fair game. Once the devs deserve something, and you know, it's written. If it was written in a contract that the dev gets 10%, then you know they can do whatever they want with their 10%, right? That's that's the trick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on. Go on.
Go for it. No, go for it.
No. I was just gonna read questions, but you go for your stuff. I'm gonna
okay. Well, just kind of my final thought on like the Sushiswap thing is that I think it's kind of a good point for people to realize that they need to look into what they're signing up for, because you know, they could be like, hey, listen, there is a vulnerability that we get this many tokens dumped right on our heads. And I think people need to start realizing that these risks are real. You know, like rug pulls aren't the only things that can happen. There's a lot of vulnerabilities out there. So, I mean, I would hope that people would get smarter, but I know that's not going to happen, because we're going to see people that do not get smarter.
No. They see it gets listed on Binance and they just go like, oh, what is this? Okay, I'll just buy it. Whatever. Who cares? It's sushi. It sounds cute. Okay, cool. And I think that's a big problem with this space, right? People don't read. People like barely read, and you know.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's not. It's if you treat it like a giant, if you treat giant crypto like a giant casino, you're most likely gonna lose all your money. But if you are wise and you're smart with it, I feel like this is one of the most fertile areas of growth. period.
Interesting.
Like,
Interesting, because yeah, that's an interesting perspective that might be fun to harp on because like there's the long term holds for sure, like like your ETH, your Bitcoin,
yeah.
obviously your Trustswap, that's a blue chip right there. But like for example, the way I know we've talked about this a couple times before, but like asymmetric risk reward, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, like if there's a 1 in 10 chance that I lose all my money, but a 9 in 10, or let's say it's 50-50, that makes it easier. 50% chance I lose all my money, 50% chance I go 10x.
Yep.
I'm spinning that wheel every time. So, I mean, there might be some validity to kind of treating it like a casino, and you just need to be intelligent about what
Yes.
the odds are.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, and it's hindsight. It's hindsight is 2020, but I think a lot of people have PTSD from this because the market never really behaved the way they thought it would, especially for newbies, right? They see something launch on Binance, they say, oh, for sure this is gonna dump because it just landed on Binance, and then they don't buy it. And then when it shoots up, like this is exactly the story of sushi, right? It listed on Binance, I think it was $3-4. It just kept moving up, moved up to like 6, 7, 8, and then they FOMO in at like 10, right? And then maybe for the first second it went into $11. That's great. And then bam, this smams down all the way to $1, and you're like, fuck. I can imagine this happening to a lot of people, right? This is like the story of crypto, right? And like that's when you gotta control FOMO, right? When you feel FOMO, that's when you gotta like smack yourself in the face, like fuck you, fuck you.
100%, man.
You're like slap yourself and just like think clearly about what's going on. Like, and this almost happened for me for uni, right? Because I saw uni prices just going up and up and up. I'm like, okay, I'm thankful I'm holding some because I have a long position, right? But then, like, do I buy more? And I just had to slap myself, like, oh no, I can't buy more. No, I can't buy more. No, like don't FOMO at $8. No, no, don't do that. Do not do that. Because like, at $8, everyone's like just shouting like $50, like $100. And you're just like, no, no, no. You gotta slap yourself into shape. So I feel like that's like the core, right? You got to understand the core where it's like you actually have to, buy low, sell high. And, it's, and it goes back to the story. I mean, we've been talking about, uptrend for some time as well, right? You've been building that out for ages. I mean, I know you've been working your ass off. So I was like, okay, look, I'll buy some and have this stuff. And it turned out to be one of the greatest successes of this run, right? But when we were talking about uptrend, no one wanted to hear about it because it wasn't pumping, right? But ironically, that was the best time to buy, right? That's the harsh reality of it. Like, sometimes it's not about doing what's popular, right? Everyone's talking about Falcon Swap now. Great, thanks. That's good. But at the same time, if everyone is talking about it, is that the right time to buy it? Not financial advice, of course, by the way, but but that time when Trustswap was low, like why not? Why not have like some exposure? There's so many users on it. There's so many people on it. Like like the only place I really post my videos now is like on Uptrend, right? Because there's people who are there who respond, and there's a community there. Why not, right? And that's no brainer. So, anyways.
100%, man. 100%. I think that's it. It's like the price go up, that means the project is doing good. Price go down means project is doing bad. Whether it's like Uptrend or Trustswap or like Library, a platform that I really like. If we're talking about like, decentralized media, they just went from like 30 or $40 million market cap down to like 7. And then I'm like looking in their chats and everyone's like, oh, Library's dead. I'm like, my dudes, like Library has like millions of users every month. Like this thing is legit. But just that mentality of like everyone watching the line to indicate project strength is to me the most batshit crazy thing that people can do. Like you watch the announcement channel. What are people building? What are people doing? What are the key metrics? Anyways, I know you know that stuff, but man,
it's hard.
It
it's
grinds
so hard.
my gears, man. Yeah.
It's so hard, and I think it's so easy for people to say stuff like this. And like that now today we have a day when everything is in the red, right? I think everyone's gonna think, oh my god, crypto scam, it's all over. I mean, I'm just gonna pull this over, and let me just very, very quickly show you guys what up to. But Jeff's face will be covered, so sorry, Jeff. But
That's all right.
if you store it by like last 24 hours, you'll see, oh, Uniswap, it went down by 18%. Elron is down 17%. Quant down 17%. Neo down 16%. Sushi down 16%. Like, it feels like the world's coming to an end, right? Like, you see all that, you're like, oh my god, it's coming to an end. But does that really reflect what's going on in a project? I feel like this is definitely doesn't reflect everything that's happening with all the projects. I think that's definitely true. Some whales might be
Mm-hmm.
taking profit. I think that's the market forces at play, and you have to realize that market forces are huge. I've been hearing a lot of people who are very bearish, and that could explain why a lot of this is there, especially with the early DeFi investors. There's a lot of profit taking right now, so that's one of the problems that could be encountering. I mean, especially something like UMA or MTA. I got screwed over by MTA actually, because I thought, oh, they're probably going to list on Binance soon. Let me buy a bunch, and then so that was my bad trade. And I'm okay with sharing bad trades because bad trades happen, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to always win. I mean, you get a few good ones, and then you know that's the crazy part about crypto, right? So
Yeah.
I definitely think there's an asymmetry that you were talking about there that you have to work with. Are you investing in anything for right now? Like, what are you looking at?
I mean, that I've put money into myself has been pretty sparse. As you know, thanks to you, you hooked me up with Linear.
Hmm.
So I got into Linear, so pretty excited about that one. Got into XBTC, which I'm super excited about. I know we have some polarizing opinions on that one. And in terms of other investments, I just posted my bags the other day. I have a
Oh yeah,
whole
nice.
list. I forget
Is it
what the hell is
gigantic?
all
Is it
in.
a gigantic list of
No,
bags?
man, it's pretty slim. And honestly, what's kind of funny is it's a lot of the projects that are integrating with Trustswap, just because I know what Trustswap is doing, and then like I kind of have like an idea on like what these projects are doing. So like I just buy a bag of them. So I'm like I foresee really good things within this ecosystem. Like I own some Falcon Swap, I own some Unilayer, I own some Unitrade, even like Meridian Network, I own some of that. Like my biggest bag is Axion, and so I'm for sure missing a ton. But yeah, that's what I have in the bag, right? Obviously, Bitcoin's in there too, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Bitcoin. Are
I
you
don't
are you
know.
wrapping your Bitcoin? Are you renting Bitcoin? Or are you just Bitcoin?
I'm just straight Bitcoining it, man. Just like yeah, I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
have it. It's a crime not to have Bitcoin.
it is a crime, but I
So
got so tempted. I'm like, fuck, I need to move that over to DeFi and start yield farming with it. So all my
well, yeah,
Bitcoins.
'cause you're the farm king. You got your man. You should have your profile picture with like wearing those overalls. I know you made a like a you had a YouTube clip like a cover photo, and I think
Oh
you're wearing
god.
overalls in it. Man, I think that needs to change because that was a golden photo, and you were crushing it, man.
That was
So are you
great,
not
man.
farming as much anymore, or
Not
is it
as
like you're
much,
just
not
so
as
down?
much.
Yeah.
Like, recently the rewards are not as great anymore.
Hmm.
So like, I just took the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna take a break. Like, now is the time to take a break, because like before, right? If you think about it this way, right now most of the safer farms are like, say, 40 to 60% APY, right? And that's much lower now than before. Before,
Hmm.
back in the day, right, you'll get like 400, and the difference between 400 and 1,000 is 600%, right? So before, the variation was much bigger, but now it's like the variation is like 40 to 60, right? So like, maybe like this on this platform it's like 40% APY, on another platform it's 60. So what? Okay, whoopee. And another platform maybe
Right.
you get like 20, and then you have a boost, like Swerve, you have a boost for 2.5x on a boost on the 20%. So that's like what? Okay, 20 times 40, sorry, 1.2, sorry, 2.5 times 40, so that's around 50 something, right? So you get some 50x rewards, but it's still small, right? But back in the day, because the variation was so huge, you're having a variation between 500% versus 1,200% versus 2,000%. Like, you have this insanity going on, and they were more sustainable. So moving farms every day made sense. It made sense to invest that time into it, right? But now,
Hmm.
because the differences are so small, I'm like, okay, now it's still money, all right? It's still money. I still know people who are moving it between, like, improving their yields from 40 to 80%. It's still something, right? It's doubling your yield, but it was nowhere near as pronounced as before. So I'm just taking a small break right now. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna chill a little bit. That's the case. I have a comment here, so we'll do a bit more comments. Let's do like say 5-10 minutes of Q&A. But I think this one is a sad story. It says Smarks Kill Wrestling says at Box Mining, I still will send FSW, so this is the Falcon Swap token, to swap smart contract address. Please ask Jeff if I can get them back, please.
I think like we've had a bunch of tokens sent to our smart contract address, and it's almost becoming like I joke, it's not a revenue stream, but it feels like it because there's a ton of tokens in there. I know there's some, like we use Open Zeppelin. I'm not a developer, so I'm just speaking out of my ass here. I know we use Open Zeppelin, which allows for like malleable contracts. So there probably is a way that we can just go in and return to sender. I'll chat with Adam about that one.
Chat with Adam, because like a lot of times when you send to the address itself, the functionality of what the devs can do is very small. We've seen examples where I think there was actually like twice 2 examples of this where $500,000 got sent to the Sushi contract, and then another $500,000 got sent to the Sushi contract, and that's just lost forever. That's like, you can take it as a burn. So I hope not. Yeah, but the way smart contracts work is that they become living beings after a while. So I'll set the expectations there. I don't know how you set it up, because if it's like, it depends on what you can do, but obviously get in contact with Jeff. Jeff is one of the friendliest people I know. So, you know, dude, I brought that to your attention. So hopefully that can do something cool. But don't get your hopes up, because crypto, don't make mistakes. And that's what the problem of yield farming too. Like yield farming, like when you're late at night, man, like you still have to double check those addresses, because if you miss send, like
roasted,
dead. It's dead. It's absolutely dead, man. Okay, so let's see. Okay, 40 times, no. Darren Dakuza says 40 times 2.5. No, it's 20 times 2.5. All right, 20 times 2.5 is 50. Okay, let me just make sure my math is right. Someone was picking up my maths. It was 20 times 2.5. Check the rates. Okay, swerve 20%. I can memorize that shit off my top of my head. My math not wrong. Okay, I'm touchy. Okay, I'm touchy. I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive.
Yeah, wait, someone in Hong Kong, never go after their math skills. They will come after you.
It's like, you see this swerve right now. It's like 20, it's 25. Okay, so 25 times 2.5. All right, okay, cool. I'm done being touchy and sensitive. All right. All right, so for all YouTube. Okay, so we got Kerensky says, do you guys ever think about doing a YouTube live with all YouTube advisors on every channel at the same time? That's interesting.
It could be a fun dynamic. Yeah. It could be fun.
It could be fun. It could be not fun. Who knows, right? Like, I know I have a good chemistry of Jeff. We hang out a lot. Sometimes like we try like multiple YouTube things, and it's like sometimes it works really well, sometimes it does not work very well. Like, you're just trying to talk over each other. It's like, and it's not even intentional. Sometimes it's just like, you know, like the delay. You try to respect each other, and then it's like, you know, hard. Jeff, do you want to pick up some questions as well to just wrap the session up?
Yeah. Let me scroll through here. If you see one, let me know too. I'm just scrolling through.
Yeah, it's always hard. Like, I think that's something people don't realize. It's like reading live chat is actually really hard because there's so much text, and I'm dyslexic right now. It's after
one that people are talking about a lot is Falcon Swap, and they're all like, "Oh, what's the partnership with Falcon Swap?" And the answer is always, it's never a partnership. It's always a software integration. And everyone's like, "Oh, this guy says, the guy who tipped you 100 Indian rupees, I think it is there a chance of a rug pull with Falcon Swap? They're an Anon team." And the answer is always, I don't know. It's always like, do your own research. Like, we're a software company, and we're integrating software. Just like Ethereum allows any ERC20 to be built on top of it, and they're not liable for the ERC20's actions. It's the same with Trustswap. We just issue software. So we're not doing any, you could assume that we're not doing any due diligence at all. There's a chance that we are, but assume that we aren't.
It's so true, man. It's so true. I like Falcon Swap. Like, there's some beta coming up, so maybe that's the best time to do it. But if you are unsure, don't speculate. I think that's the key here. Don't assume people did their DD. That's the most dangerous part, and then you blame other people. That's like the worst. There was Luke Skywalker says thoughts on meme. Did you guys talk about it already? Do you have any thoughts on meme?
I don't even know what it is, man. All I know
Got
is
it.
that Andre endorsed it. Do you know about it?
Yeah, so meme is kind of funny. It was a joke. Like someone was like, "Oh, we're launching so many food coins right now." So meme was like, "Oh, you can launch like you can select from us so you select an icon and then you select what sort of contract template you want to use and then you click launch."
Right.
So someone did a screenshot of that, right? Yeah, that was one.
So meme is the token that like does the issuance of all those food tokens? Is that how it works?
No, it was a joke, and then someone was like, "Oh, we should make this a real thing," and then someone made a Telegram group and they dropped 200 meme to everyone. And then
God.
like it shot up price, right? Like the price was like $20, right? So everyone's like, "Oh, so happy we got like $400, right?" But now meme is like 1,000. Like all of a sudden, it was the biggest pump coin of the last 24 hours, right? Let me just double check if I'm right on that. I think it probably would dump it a little bit right now. Let me just see.
$35 million.
No. It's actually no. It's still pumping. It's still pumping. It's the only coin that's pumping right now. So 1.7K. Oh my god. Oh my
Look at that
god.
chart. Zoom out to the 1-year chart, man. That is out of control. Just straight up.
Yeah, it's insane. It's something I wouldn't touch right now with sorry guys. Like don't buy meme.com. Yeah, man. They're doing NFTs right now. So I think they're catching on the NFT meme. But I hope they're doing something good. Obviously it's been hyped up right now, so just be very, very careful, guys. It's the way crypto works, right? It might be cool. I mean, obviously the dev is smart, but yeah, they're doing NFT farming. Like all of a sudden NFTs are coming. Like this is kind of cool.
Here's a question coming in on the chat. That's I don't know. I'm sure a lot of Trustswap people are watching, so I wouldn't mind answering it. I don't want to turn into a Trustswap Q&A though. But is Trustswap team picking the time and launch of the launch pad, or is it solely the choice of the launching projects? So anything that has to do with projects, whether it's swap drops, launchpad projects, that's up to them. We're only going to do 2 launchpad projects a month maximum. The rest we're going to ship off to Unilayer, where 2.5% of the raise gets used to buy back swap tokens like purchase power on the open market. It's always up to the project. So we just wait. And MobiPay should still be within the month of September.
Nice. Sure. That's good. I think right now it's definitely smart not to rush on everything. I think it's like the market's taking a little bit of break, which is much needed. A much needed break right now. So I think that's overall good, and we want to grow in a positive direction for sure. I know these are like the most meaningless words, but sorry, go on.
What are in these times, as you so eloquently talk about, what are Michael's 5 biggest bags besides Bitcoin? Well, I mean, add Bitcoin in there, but then say 6.
Oh shit. Okay, so I did a medium bags video. So like the way I structure everything is like I have the HODL, which is like Bitcoin, Ethereum, VeChain, and some other coins where I feel like, okay, look, long term it's really worth hodling. And then I have medium bags, which is like Trustswap, we got Swissborg, Utrust, Binance Coin. Did I say swap? I definitely said Trustswap already. What was the other one? There was Synthetics as well. Adding onto that as well, got my Linear, Lena, got a bunch of other crap. I think still like even crap like Uni. I think as much as we disagree, I still hold some and these coins, and it adds up. Like I have like a 50 something odd coins, and I did the video on that. I think that was very well received, and I think like those are my medium bags, which is like I want to hold, but at the same time I'm looking for some price movement too, so I can take some profit off that, right? Sure. So BNB did very well. It moved from 18 to around 32. So I managed to take some profit off that one. Engine's up there too. Sorry, I forgot about Engine. Engine didn't do so well. I think it's still stuck in the kind of like dropped a little bit with the entire market. And same with Synthetics as well. It's one of those things that will take a little bit of time to get working, but that was kind of my strategy. Then of course I have the highly speculative bag where it's just like buying whatever trash possible on the market. Not to be offensive, right? That's just I find it funny. I always
It's
say
the asymmetric risk reward bag right there.
yeah, it's your asymmetric
To put it
asymmetric.
eloquently.
Yeah, but I mean I say everything is crap affectionately. I think that's something
Yeah.
that I always say, you know, like um you know, in this space is so speculative, and I take it as a speculative investment. You know, that's the way it is. I have some chain games. I think chain games is great. You know, in terms of doing a lot of the gaming stuff, and in terms of development, and this is something I actually spoke to Jeff about. You know, they're not just a two-man team. Okay, a lot of people are confused. They were confused when looking at the web page, and they say, oh, the team is so small. It's actually quite a big team, and they actually have quite a lot of stuff already developed. So I'm actually quite excited to play some games. Hopefully we can play some of the chain games, Mario Kart, although I'm horrific at Mario Kart.
Yeah,
but
they're coming up with a first-person shooter pretty soon, so that one will be fun.
nice. You should do
Yeah.
you know what they should do? They should do Fall Guys. Fall Guys is great.
Okay, cool.
It's like a
well,
you know
go
what Fall
ahead.
Guys is, right? Do you know what it is? See, okay. Fall Guys is 60 people all at once, and they're participating in a running game. So like there's it's like a whole obstacle course with 60 people at the same
Oh,
time. Yeah, it's amazing. I think I told you about this once, but I think
yeah, we had a phone call about this one. Yeah. No, the idea is awesome, man. I love that concept.
yeah,
That one's super cool.
that might be cool, right? You enter in with like a $1 thing, and then you run against 60 people, and then you end up making money because at the end you probably win $500 or something, right? Because magic of crypto. But
That's
you know,
right. Every hurdle you jump, you yield farm another token. That's the concept.
that is a concept,
Unreal.
but I mean, like, I think that's cool. Have you okay? Let's summarize a little bit. Polkadot as well. I think I've been looking at Polkadot a lot recently. Um, I think like that's the kind of the next wave. So Polkadot storage space NFTs are kind of hot right now, like super hot. So you know that's my 2 cents. Let me see what else I got. I got Hacken. Got some Hacken tokens right
Oh yeah.
there. I think you know they're a team that actually delivers. I mean, you guys use Hacken, right?
They're great, man. They turn around audits super fast, like really good.
And I think they were so unfortunate. It's one of those most unfortunate teams because like they're Eastern European, right? So they're based in Ukraine, and you know, going to Ukraine changed my mind and how I should look at things because like people are so nice there. I thought like before going to Ukraine, I was like, oh shit, is it full of mobsters? Am I gonna get killed? What's gonna happen, right? Like
Beat you to death with pierogies.
yeah, and then, like you watch like Tenet. I'm not sure if you watch Tenet, but all the bad guys are Eastern European, right? It's just like it's something part of this culture where Eastern Europeans are always the bad guys, right? Like they have this like accent. Yuri will deal with you, and then the other guy punch Yuri or something like that. And Yuri is huge, and and then Yuri is like, oh, no feel, right? And then there's like, but yeah, but you go there and you just see like some of the smartest people out there. Some of the hackers they have are just like, whoa, like this is just like it's insane. So and you know with labor being so much cheaper over there, I think it's like they have insane plays that they need to do in this place. So that's my 2 cents. I think that really changed me. Like you can't be racist like that. Like Box, don't be racist. And you know that's what I'm telling everyone else. What else am I holding? What shit coins? Ertz, 8 Hour Foundation. I'm holding that now. That's good. NFTs yet again. So Engine, Ertz, Wax. I'm down there looking at all those smart NFT and all that stuff. Yeah, lots of stuff. I think I have like 50 something coins, which is crazy. So
Almost as many coins as you have yield farming portals open, probably. Hey.
man, I was telling Jeff a little bit earlier, so I just want to wrap this up a little bit because I think we've been on for 1.5 hours already. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's like I have like so many yield farms open. I take screenshots of them, right? So when I just start clearing some up today, and it's just such a pain. Like I'm like a squirrel that has money everywhere. um it's such a first world farming problem, but like it is a problem where like you farm, you forget where it is. Oh, I have money in gems, I gotta search it up, and then you don't want to lose any of that, right? And we got someone saying player Michael. Yes, player is there too, but yeah, you know, that's my 2 cents. All right, so should we wrap this session up?
Sure, man. Yeah, I think as always, that's a fun chat. Like it's just always a good time.
It's always a good time. Definitely Jeff is very confident. Let's see. Uh, yes, swap. So I think a lot of people, you know, like I think something that I want to say, just ending with this, and I think that's something that's really good about Jeff, is he's very open about everything, and he moves at such a fast speed, and I think that's the energy we need in this space. So I think I'm very appreciative of learning a lot from Jeff as well, like all this time, not just like as like a pure working out energy guy. Like I think like we've been in the gym together. Like this guy's such an inspiration to have, some guy who is so hardworking, but also hardworking in the crypto space as well. Like just being able to deliver on so many products so quickly. I think people don't understand how much crypto takes a toll on you when like everything wants to move so fast. You're giving out, 16-hour, 20-hour days consistently for months on end. And I think Jeff's been delivering consistently too. So I'd definitely say like in this space, we really appreciate people like that. Thanks for coming on board. And we hope to do more. And I think it's very late for you too, right? It's starting to get 10 o'clock, 20 o'clock, 12 comments. So it's all,
That's midday, man.
it's
That's
midday.
midday. Yeah,
Exactly.
the second push starts now. This is actually like when Adam comes online, the CTO of Trustswap. So like this is kind of like push number 2 now. So yeah, it's a hell of a journey. But oh well. I mean, it's there's something about like enjoyable, but like doing something you love. Like the phrase is like ikigai. Like it's like when you have like all the aspects of your life, like it's like something that you love doing, something you can get paid for, something the world needs, and there's a fourth thing too, and it's like right in the center. And like for this, like Trustswap is like one that fits right in the middle. And then like another cool word that I like is like Meraki. That's like actually my favorite word, and that means to like put something of yourself into your work, which I really like because I'm just like, yeah, like this is like what I'm doing. This is like, my soul going into the work. So yeah, it's fulfilling. And I think if it's fulfilling, then it fuels me up.
Nice, man. I think that's a great way to end the stream. I think you're putting a little bit of yourself into Trust Swap, and that's amazing. So, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for asking questions. I hope we answered as many questions as possible. This was the chillest chat ever. We got Michael leaves. Is Jeff going to play StarCraft over afterwards? I think Jeff is going to go on multiple meetings afterwards. I hope
That's right. But what we should do, man, is we should set up like blitz gaming sessions for chain games, or like like the
Yes.
Xbox mining channel night on Tuesdays. Everyone like
Yes.
blitzes the chain games. That would be a lot of fun. I'd love to do something like that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, guys, hope to catch up more on Jeff. And then we have lots of questions over more. And if you guys want to ask Jeff directly some questions, etc., shoot Jeff a question. I think he's on like multiple, like on every Telegram. Like he answers to everything. I think like, yeah, just find him. And that's it. Cool, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like Telegram, TrustSwap, whatever. There's also Facebook. Yeah, check there out. I'm not gonna show everything for you guys, but cheers, man.
Thanks a lot, bro.